Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, see what's going on. It is performing as expected, right? It's perfect. We love it when this happens. We got this really awesome place in which we might want to consider taking along here. Just going to preface with that, but not exactly kind of just leave you hanging, right? We want to explain why I say that, but also verify and double check, because you don't just catch a falling knife just because the price goes to where you want. Doesn't mean you just jump right in blindly. Okay, so we're going to do that. Quick congrats to our community members here for some nice profits for EVEX. We took that trade yesterday, 22% on the way down. And then, of course, Bitcoin, we caught our second target, 32% in 3 days. So been a decent little situation there. While we had to close a long with ETH. We closed it after it broke its support level, and not the end of the world, right? Barely missed our profit target. It's all good. Watch my video if you're curious about what I mean by that. But regardless of that fact here, what we want to look at is the backend data and kind of see what's going on, because when we look at liquidation, we want to verify just a few things, if there's been any shift in momentum. And more importantly, just, if there's people getting crazy with longs, because as the price drops, you'll start seeing more longs entering the market, which we can see here between 61.5 and 61K. There's even a concentration at about 60.5 and 60,000 even. We zoom out, we kind of look here, we can see that there's a lot more liquidation way lower. We're talking sub 55,000. I think the likelihood of seeing that is pretty low. If we do break 60,000 on the downside, I think we'll probably see I wouldn't say a free fall, but we're probably more likely to see the price continue to run. But for right now, majority of the liquidation that was here has been swept. So the heaviest concentration, roughly about $4.5 to $5 billion in liquidation at 62K is gone. So that really just implies that the whales have done their job. They've moved the price where they want it to, and now they can effectively move the market in whichever way they see fit. It would make sense for the price to bounce from here again, just because there's a lot of confluence at this level. And what I mean by that is, we take a look, this is just a quick little bird's eye view. You can see there's a lot of resistance here, multiple attempts to break this level, and every attempt failed, and now it's likely to work as a support because that was a previous resistance. Now, once more, you do not take trades specific on that one thing, but you can find success by doing something along those lines. In fact, if we take a look at Elliott Wave, it can't come down much lower. I mean, we can see maybe 60,500, maybe 60K as a worst case, in order to validate this trend. Okay, so if this is going to continue to have one more leg up, the price cannot go any lower than 60K, just as a round number. Okay, so that's why that's there. It's just kind of something to pay attention to. Do I think you should solely trade on Elliott Wave alone? Absolutely not. It's a very unilateral trading style. Again, it's beneficial to use key fib levels. Of course, I'm consistently using myself too with great success. But you don't just trade fib levels. You want to verify if there's overextension or perhaps relative strength. There's some things I think that are extremely important. So just be careful following other people that are only using one theory. It's a theory, not an exact science, and so is everything else, really. But if you kind of combine a lot of different things together, you can find more success. So let's go ahead and take that combination and let me explain what I mean by that. So if we're over 50 on the RSI, generally it's going to work as a support. So hypothetically, right now, we should see a bounce at a roughly 61.5. Okay, now I say 61.5 because that's the key fib level, but more importantly, our previous resistance turn support is roughly a 61.7. That's right where we're at right now. Now, again, these are strictly hypothetical situations that should occur. Is it a guarantee? No, it just increases your odds of success. Having said that, though, stochastic is swinging down. We're starting to lose momentum on the MACD. We hit an 8 on TD sequential here recently, implying that we're more likely to see further downside, and we're only 2 days into this progression. Hypothetically, and again, I don't think this is exactly the way it goes. You don't just come up to a 9 and turn right around and hit another 9, but if that were to be the case, we have another 7 to 8 days of bearish divergence. Okay, so that's a possibility. Anyways, the fair value gap here has been mostly filled, so that's a very positive sign too. It's kind of right there in that range. If we take a look at the 4 hour, it's a very similar scenario here. The previous fair value gap was filled, and then of course we take a look here at TD sequential. We're at a 9 here. So we're seeing an overextension on TDS, basically telling us we've been moving in the same direction for a long time. Okay, so 36 hours roughly of a straight bearish divergence. Now, if we look at its history and we kind of just take a look here, it's not a guarantee that the price is going to turn around when we hit a 9, right? There's times where the price should reverse itself, doesn't, right? So overextension, I would say in a lot of ways means very little in crypto, but in general, it's also relative and also very relevant too in a lot of ways. Okay, so what I mean by that here is you take a look at some 9s here, for the most part, we're going to see the price end up reversing itself when you hit that. Okay, So again, a lot of times that will occur. So that in combination with this previous resistance turn support, that does reaffirm a decent chance of bouncing from here. Now, do you just buy the dip right now to buy the dip? Absolutely not. There's no other way around it. You cannot just buy this to buy it. And the reason why I say that is because we lost 50 on the RSI. The money flow index is now under 20. These are all things that show us that a lot of money is flowing away from this coin and it's less likely to bounce. I would feel more confident and comfortable if the RSI is closer to 30. That gives me more indication that we're in a good position. So if I do happen to see RSI closer to 30 later today, then I might consider that, right? That might be a good bouncing point to consider. But once more, if you are to do that, you want to treat it with respect and make sure you watch the trade closely, okay? Don't just set it and forget it when it comes to a bounce when the price is significantly dropping. Okay, that makes no sense. So even though we're overextended and we're coming up against key level support, the likelihood of the price bouncing from here is quite high. It still feels wrong, all right? So just throwing it out there. That's just me after, over 20 years of trading experience. Granted, my crypto experience is roughly half that. It's still relevant because traditional markets teach you a lot about patience and being more conservative. And I would say crypto's taught me even more about that. So again, being patient is key and is paramount here. Let's go ahead and take a look and see. There's no reason here to consider a long position. Everything in the Ichimoku cloud is telling us that we are still looking to continue lower. Now again, could we get a bounce from here? Possibly. I still think it's a little premature, a little too early. It almost feels like it's a trap. Like, we got this perfect area here, like everyone's going to want to buy this dip. All the more reason probably for the whales to just destroy these early longs, right? So I'd much rather be a late long in the 60.5 to 61.5 range than I am right now, specifically just because we got to this area that I was looking for, right? Again, that's why I set alerts and I reevaluate. This just doesn't feel right. I think we might be able to get a little bit more out of our shorts because we do have a couple of profitable shorts at this point. I'm not going to flip long just yet, though. I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite right at this point. But once more, there's a lot of indications as to why the price should be near its bottom, right? So again, take that however you will. And I know it's probably frustrating to be like, man, I just watched this guy for like 7-8 minutes of my life. I'll never get that time back, and he never told me which way it's going. That's happened. And that's 95% of trading, folks. If you're not ready, you're not prepared for that, you're probably in the wrong industry. So it's just the way it goes sometimes. But anyways, I'm going to be patient and wait a little bit longer. We start to see the price, maybe hanging out in this range for the next 12 hours, perhaps later today. I reevaluate, we take a look, and Bitcoin's still maintaining this range. It may be an appropriate time to consider a long. But we're going to reevaluate and kind of see, though, okay? Between now and then, I think it's best to be patient and wait it out. All right, so I hope this made sense. I described this correctly. Thank you again so much for watching. To our current community members, again, congrats on our trades here recently. Very, very cool stuff. And I wanted to say thank you to everybody in my chat group. And just, you're all an amazing part of my life. I'm really super thankful to be able to interact with some amazing traders day in and day out. Even those who are still newer trying to learn, it's a lot of fun to be able to be part of this with you. So appreciate you. Thank you very much. And that goes to whomever is watching. Thanks again for hitting the like button, commenting below too. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.